haven't done a video on this Barndo build in a long time, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Mostly because the progress has been very slow. What happened is on October 21st, 2018, I wrote the checks for the crew that built this metal building, and then my dad pretty much handed the keys of the ranch over to me, although he kept his hand on the steering wheel. And over the next year, nothing got done on this building. I was doing ranch work. And finally, I guess it was in 2020, summer 2020, my son and I were able to get these two bedrooms framed up, sealed up, at least so I had a place to sleep that I could keep warm, keep the spiders and mice off of me. And this all was still shop. And finally this summer, my son and I were able to frame out the rest of the living area, get the deck put on the ceiling, and we also did a lot of insulation on the metal building itself, which I'll have a separate video on that because there's people interested in how I did this polyiso insulation. But anyway, I kind of catch up on where we are. This last summer, my son and I got quite a bit done, and he had to go to college in August, and since then, I've been trying to finish things up as I go. So the number one thing was getting insulation done. And that's this polyiso insulation. I'm going to do a separate video on that because there's a lot to talk about. Once I got the insulation done, I was able to do the electrical, and there's my rat's nest of the electrical panel right there. I'm going to clean that up and get it organized so that I'll have the main circuits isolated so that I can power them up with either a generator or solar power. But that's something that doesn't hinder me right now. But I got all electrical run, lights in, and so forth. And then Christmas, my son and I started doing sheetrock work in here. This is the living room. I can't tell what I'm doing because I know I have my glasses on. Yeah. Anyway. There we go. So we got most of the living room sheetrocked. I've been doing that myself this week. We got the kitchen pretty much sheetrocked in. At least the ceiling and this wall. I can't do this right here, and I can't do the back wall until I get the plumbing done. And that's next on the list. So really not a lot of this interior sheetrock I can do. Now this is the north wall of my building, and I'm going to have plumbing run through there, so I'm also going to put in, bad insulation to keep the pipes from freezing. That's the bathroom. This little room here is going to be a pantry. So it's coming along. Finally got real doors installed that actually seal up and don't let the mice and spiders in. I got my windows properly installed so they're sealed up. Same thing, got a good, nice front door. But the interesting thing is, we just went through a pretty big cold spell here, and I spent, 4 nights out here where it didn't get above, or it dropped down to 8 to 10 degrees at night, and didn't get above 20 for 2 or 3 days. But I have sealed this building up well enough and insulated it well enough that little heater right there was able to keep 1,000 square feet of living area nice and warm, probably around 70, 72 degrees. I didn't have a thermometer. And it was only running about a 50% duty cycle, so I'm very pleased with that. Now, anybody that knows me knows I'm very cheap, and I've decided to splurge on something. And I'm going to put a nice wood-burning stove in this corner. I've already ordered it, and the guys are going to come out and install it in 2 or 3 weeks. But I got lucky, and a lady on next door gave me 860 of these concrete pavers. Now, they're dirty. I'm having to clean them up. Basically, I'm going to build a thermal sink up these walls, I'll take those bricks all the way to the ceiling in both sides, and use this, that'll be thermal mass to catch heat off the wood burning stove. But I'm pretty sure, based on the performance of this little stove, a nice wood burning stove will be more than enough to keep this thing nice and toasty. The other thing that's holding me up in terms of some of the interior sheetrock, right there on that wall, I'm going to put the interior unit of a mini split air conditioning unit in. And I've got some questions on the wiring for that, and one of my best friends is actually an AC guy that sold me this unit. So I need to talk to him, make sure I got my wiring correct, and then I can start sealing up this with more drywall. But it's starting to feel like a house. Sort of have a kitchen. It's a DC powered refrigerator, microwave, coffee maker, and got just the basic essentials. So other than that, it still looks like a redneck outside. And I'm done for this week. I've been up here for 5 days. I'm gonna go feed cows. It'll take me 2 or 3 hours to do that, and then I'm heading home. Yeah, have a good one.